to Book 101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that are read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest, CDO and partner at Wow Remote Teams, none other than Mr. Chris Brown.
Thank you for having me here today, Daniel.
Welcome, Mr. Chris, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, so I'm Chris. I'm a partner here at Wow Remote Teams. Many years of being an entrepreneur in software development and tech world, and now I'm helping bring Latin American talent to U.S. businesses.
It is so great, Mr. Chris. Thank you for empowering Latin American people to the world. Thank you. And today let's talk about the Latin American advantage, how nearshore staffing can revolutionize your marketing ROI. So tell us, while cost efficiency is the major draw, you frame this as a Latin American advantage. Beyond savings, what are the two or three most significant qualitative advantages that make the region uniquely positioned for marketing teams?
Cost advantage, like you said, but cultural alignment, of course, with U.S. and Canadian North American teams. Cultural alignment's huge. We're all from the same part of the world, so we're all sort of aligned there. Time zones is a huge one. Like being able to work at the same time as somebody, knowing that they're going to be on 9 to 5, same hours as you. It's a huge difference maker when outsourcing talent. There's a bit of a cost differential there from Asia, of course, but it's worthwhile to a lot of people, a lot of our clients, and especially when you're, doing marketing, you're in a client intensive kind of business. Focused on results, and you're focused on getting productivity done, getting things done immediately, getting them done well, having fast feedback cycles. Being in the same time zone, being on the same alignment, it's really crucial, and it makes a huge difference for our clients and for us ourselves.
Crucial indeed. And Mr. Chris, revolutionize your marketing ROI is a powerful claim. How do you
Yeah.
define ROI in this context? Is it purely in cost per lead, or does it extend to innovation speed, campaign quality, and market penetration?
It's a little bit of all of that and more. So if you're talking about your own marketing, so like marketing just for my business, then you're talking about ROI on, what is that investment, right? Return on investment. So what are you investing? There's more than just your capital itself. You're looking at, what are the leads coming in? Can you improve the cost of the leads? Can you improve the quality of the leads? What does that marketing capital look like, and how is that aligned with your goals? But then there's also, agencies that are not that are looking at their ROI, but they're looking at an ROI not just in the marketing spend itself, but in the human, spend, and in their employment spend, and in the capital expenditure of getting more clients and then doing well for those clients. So you have kind of add-on effects there when you're talking about different levels of ROI. There's ROI for the agency, and then there's ROI for the individual clients. And what does that look like on a blend? And then, they're talking about having people specifically to work multiple client accounts, having people specifically just to rock the primary business account, right? So you get into a little bit of a blend there, and really there's just power factors in every aspect. So if you're already looking at outsourcing, the things we talked about previously, cultural alignment, time zone alignment, those things can be very effective in US businesses and Canadian businesses, because you're talking about being able to be online with somebody like 10 a.m. They're going to be there. They're ready to work. They're showing up on time, and they're getting the work done with you. That's effective. And then also the cost savings, of course. If you're talking about spending 50, 60, 70% of a US salary on somebody with the same or better skill set, how much of that budget can now be used for your marketing spend, how does that implicate in your ROI? Because that was money that was just being spent on humans before, or resources before, and now you get to put that either into your budget, or you get to use it for additional capital into other positions. So now maybe you have better graphic design, or maybe you have more production spend, or maybe you have somewhere else that you could additionally put that same capital. So it becomes this larger kind of cost breakdown, where it's not necessarily just, well, my ROI went up by 1.3x, but it went up by 1.3, but also I have additional capital that I can now interject into whatever needs that capital in my business.
Mr. Chris, is the greatest value in accessing executors to do tasks? What is the level of marketing talent from specialists to directors are companies most successfully sourcing?
Well, it's really across the board. So we see everything from just the lower levels of just production people. So they're getting given the tasks like, here's all our campaign assets, here's all the production pieces. Go put them into place and make sure they're done correctly, and then bring back the reporting, all the way up to your C-level CMOs, who are looking at the entire suite and the entire aspect of the business and planning strategy multiple years in ahead. It's really all across the board. We place a lot of positions that are specialists. So, ads specialists, social media specialists, SEO specialists. But that's just kind of because of our positioning, working with a lot of agencies, and agencies need those specialists because their clients have a wide array of need. But the entire gamut is there. So as long as the position can be done remotely, it can be done very well from anywhere, essentially. And Latin America is a really good resource.
Yes, definitely. So, which specifically in Latin America, which country are included, Mr. Chris?
Well, there's a lot, of course. We primarily source from Colombia and Mexico, but we do source from all over Latin America. It really just depends where we find good talent. So if you just, Mexico and South, and just look at the entire map there, there's a lot of countries.
Yes, definitely. Many fear that outsourcing can lead to a task factory mentality. How does the new shore staffing, when done right, actually increase innovation and creative output within the marketing department?
Well, I mean, there's always that task-driven mentality. It's kind of just how we run a business and how we hire people and how we set expectations, right? As long as you come into it knowing what your expectations for a position and a person are, then you can find great people no matter where you're looking. Nearshoring, outsourcing, this is just it's a manner of finding a larger talent pool to select people from. But when you're looking for, I want a great thinker, I want somebody who's going to be able to strategize, I want somebody who's going to bring a different set of thoughts and ideas and opinions to this task so that we can find a new way forward. That's about setting expectations. That's about interviewing well. That's about understanding your own problem set when coming into it. Because if you just come in and go, well, I just want great people to take over this problem for me and do all the work. I mean, those people are out there, they exist, of course, but finding them is hard when you don't have clarity on what it is that you need to do. So, really, the answer to this question comes down to needing to know where it is that you need to be in that spectrum of between, at one end, just pure task based, I need you to implement this, and the other end of, I need you to run this entire thing and come up with the ideation and run strategists and run a team and find all the right people so that all of this happens from strategy to task. And when you know where you land on that spectrum, where your business lands, where it is that your need set is, then you can find people that are the right fit for that job. So you can find any quality, any skill set, any level of person that you need. You just need to know what level you're looking for.
Mr. Chris, yes, it's hard to find a good quality people. Yes,
Yeah.
so what are the best practices for integrating a nearshore team so they feel like a true extension of the house team rather than separate entity? How do you foster a single team culture?
That's a great question. I think the answer is good expectation setting, of course, knowing what everybody's coming into, but also treating them as a team member, treating them as another person in your office, right? If you once you find somebody that's great and that you want to keep around long term, what are the things that you should do to keep somebody around long term? Well, imagine if you were working in their position, what would you like to see? Of course, you know, bonuses, raises, feeling like part of the team. If the rest of the team is getting a lunch or a pizza party or something, they should be included. And we help with that. We help with, the logistics of getting them lunch or pizza or whatever it is you need, equipment. Basically, treat people as another member of your team, and they're going to feel like they're part of your organization, and they're going to feel more attached to you, and they're going to do a longer, better job. So it's, that comes down more than just individual, what does it look like for a nearshore person, but how do you approach handling people and upskilling people and integrating people as a whole in your organization? And that's kind of individual. We do a bunch of things internally to help people with, upskilling and education and benefits and, work parties and things like that. But it depends on the organization. And I see a lot of clients that last a long time with individuals more than just, lower turnover, higher retention, have a lot more of that kind of engagement. Just always looking for, how do you make sure that people are engaged? How do you make sure that they feel like they belong here?
Interesting, Mr. Chris. And many CMOs struggles to find specialized talent.
Yeah.
Areas like performance marketing, SEO, or marketing automation locally. How does the Latin American talent pool specifically address these high demand skill gaps?
Well, I mean, of course, you're getting a very large talent pool, right? So the CMOs that you're talking about, they're already searching in the US. They're looking for that talent everywhere they can. So when they add Latin America to that talent pool, it just expands the talent pool massively. And you're talking about people that are very well educated, very skilled. You're talking about, there's huge multinational corporations all around Latin America that have lots of people who are doing an amazing job of, selling their services, being in marketing. You have lots of talent who has already worked for U.S. companies, whether that's agencies or directly with, companies, whether that's small business or enterprise level. So it's just about, opening up the floodgates of potential candidates and saying, okay, well, now we're going to go to this additional source of a couple 100 million people and look through all the profiles there. And then that comes down to, where do you know where those sources for those profiles are? Do you know how to find those people? And then once you have all of that, then it's, it's the same kind of process as always. You're doing a recruiting motion, you're doing a vetting motion, you're checking with people, you're interviewing them, you're getting a feel for them, you're understanding their personality type and their skill set and their background and their desires and their needs, and then bringing all of that together to decide, is that a great candidate? And in our realm, bringing all that to decide, is that a good candidate for this client, right? So we do this whole motion, all of that's done, and then we bring you a set of candidates that we say, we think these are a pretty good fit for what you're looking for. Tell us if they are, we'll do another step with you. If they're not, tell us so that we can, continue the process and try again.
Try again, try and try until you succeed, people. And Mr. Chris, as a CTO and partner, what are your short term and long term goals?
Growth.
I like that
um,
growth.
yeah, I mean, short-term goals are always, fixing problems in the near term. So there's always lots of hiccups. There's lots of little growth points that need work. Today they're one thing, and tomorrow they're going to be another thing. It doesn't actually matter what the thing is. But fixing your issues in the short term, getting better efficiency, getting better processes, getting to better happiness of your people, right? Better retention, people that tell their friends of what you're doing, and you're getting people applying for jobs that are only applying because their friend told them they work with you, right? There's not even a job opening. You just get, hey, by the way, my friend's looking for a job and it's great working here. So how about that?
Hmm.
Trying to foster that environment is just a constant ongoing desire of the organization. Longer term, of course, is how do we expand our services? How do we do a better job? How do we build teams that can effectively match our clients' needs? There's always, pieces of that as the tech side of things. It's always looking at how do you build systems that integrate well and that bring everybody together in a way that works across the board, so that when new clients come in, they go to the right piece of the recruiting organization. That piece of the recruiting organization works the same as all of the other pieces, that the metrics are known, they're getting hit. If they're not getting hit, how do we manage that? How do we figure out what is missing there, and how do we bring them up to speed or up to skill, or manage that piece? Sometimes it's because of the needs for another person, or augmentation, or sometimes you need a different skill set there. Maybe that type of recruiting is a little bit more difficult. These are just constant managed pieces.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Chris, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
Mm, Keep at it, I guess. Perseverance,
Yes,
of course. Yeah, you just got
definitely.
to keep going.
Keep it going and please stop procrastinating. Do it now.
Yeah.
Share your talents to the world. And
Yeah,
yes,
sometimes procrastination is useful though. There's a
yes,
period where you need to procrastinate, you need to think about it, you need to mull it over, but yeah, there's a balance. You have to take action.
yes, there will be an action. And thank you for that advice, Mr. Chris. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Yeah, of course. Poor Charlie's Almanac, of course. Always loved that
Oh,
one.
yes.
Yeah, the Charles Munger, written in the style of the Benjamin Franklin, the old
Mhm.
book there. That's wonderful. Um, Another one is Obvious Atoms, which is just about finding the obvious solution, the simplicity and thing. It's a very old book. It's from like the early 1900s. It's not very old, but it's an older book for for these kind of discussions for marketing and business and stuff. And it's really powerful. It's very short. It's very punctual, but you can read it 10 times and find more and more in it every time you do.
Classic book, but influential until now.
Hmm.
On, thank you for that recommended books, Mr. Chris. On the future and strategic impact, the AI complement with the rise of AI tools for marketing. How does the human talent in a nearshore model adapt and add value? Are we talking about operators of AI tools or strategies guiding them?
I think it's just yes, it's all of the above. I think these are they're hugely powerful tools. We use them every day, and we're building tools internally to leverage them. And it's all about how do you work better, how do you work faster, how do you be more productive and efficient, and how do you find ways to you know do a better job, essentially. And these AI tools are really allowing us to do great things, especially with nearshore talent. Like, it used to be just a couple years ago that reviewing emails was a constant thing if you had lower level outsourced talent, no matter where that talent was from in the world. And now you don't have to do that, because now you can have them draft emails in their native language and give it to any of the AI chatbots and have them rewrite it. You can have pre-given agents inside those chatbots that know your brand, that know your style, that know your messaging style, and you can let them run with that, so that all of your messaging, all of your content is the same or similar, maybe not the same, but similar, but it can be distributed along many different people. You're always going to need, well, maybe not always, but you currently still need all that strategy piece. You need the implementation. You need somebody reviewing. You need somebody checking that the reports are done correctly, right? All of these things are, you know, AI is nascent essentially, and you're not there yet. And I know just from using it ourselves, but I also know from our clients, you know, the shininess of it is always attractive, but the reality of it isn't quite there. So you'll have it make something and you'll be like, that looks amazing. And then you get to slide 4 of the slide deck and go, why did it make this up? So that piece there is, there's still a human in the loop. I think there's gonna be for a very long time.
Well, interesting and empowering answer, Mr. Chris. And in a volatile economy, how does this model provide a strategic advantage in scaling marketing efforts up or down with more agility than traditional hiring or agency contracts?
I mean, scaling up, of course, we already talked about cost efficiency and just the benefits of working with Latin American talent. Scaling down, in a more contract centric model, it's easier to scale down than if you had US employees, which of course, US employees are, yeah, you have lots of benefit packages, you have lots of employment rule and all of those kind of things. Not to say that you don't have employment rule when contracting Latin American talent, you absolutely do. But there's a major difference there, and having somebody in office, it's much harder to scale down. Um, you know, I'm not looking for people to scale down. I position people for long-term ongoing work. I'm looking for long-term clients. I'm looking for dedicated people who do a great job over the long term. But as you get into that position, this is a more flexible kind of setup. So you get people that are really dedicated to you. And if you need that flexibility, we're here to manage that with you.
Yes, indeed. And Mr. Chris, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please don't listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 third season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 fourth season, and my science 101, sex 101 second season, and my baby podcast. Law 101, Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Chris, to close finish the sentence, the companies that will win in this next decade of marketing are those that realize nearshore staffing is not about finding cheaper labor.
Yeah. It's about finding great talent. It's about opening the doors to a bigger talent pool.
Yes, indeed. Greater talent, best talent in the world, world class. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Chris. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, tell us, high remote professional in Latin America, what it's all about on your website.
Yeah, I mean it's straight and direct to the point. That's what we do. We can help you find great, amazing professionals in Latin America. So come visit us at WOW and drop us a line if you're interested.
Yes, you will say, wow, Mr. Chris. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for your
thank you,
time.
Daniel. Thank you so
Yes.
much. It was great being here.
Likewise, looking forward for our next episode. I'm gonna invite you again to be part on Abstract Essay. More to come, people. See you soon.